索马里总统马哈茂德接受高端访谈专访，经历战火纷飞，局势动荡，索马里正致力于国家重建。
And we are looking at those how to survive and prosper. There's a very, very rich experience in China.
由衷赞赏中国的发展成就。
So he is a model, role model for many people and many countries in the third world, particularly and in the less developed countries.
他表示，中国扩大高水平对外开放将进一步推动中非合作。
That is an opportunity for the world in general and for Africa in particular.
高端访谈，敬请收看。
President Mahmoud, thank you very much for joining us on Leaders Talk. This year marks the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between China and Somalia. Looking back over the decades, how would you characterize the evolution of our bilateral ties?
First of all, thank you very much for coming to Somalia and sitting here in my office and giving me this opportunity to talk to your network. As you rightly said, China and Somalia has a long relationship. On all these decades, the relationship has always been a very good relationship, mutual respect and integrity based on. So China was supporting Somalia since the first days of the independence. Even after 30 years, more than 30 years of difficult era, civil war, different destructions that happened in Somalia. But still, the major projects of the China-Somalia cooperation and relationship and China's support to Somalia is still visible and tangible. And some of those projects are still serving the people, like the hospital, the stadium, and all these are still, the highways are still working for the people of Somalia. So this is a very historic relationship that has now, I can say, matured, and we're working together to further enhance and develop that relationship between Somalia and China.
I understand the hospital serves
the hospital serves not only an ordinary hospital, but it's a mother and child hospital. Since the 1970s, more than 50 years, that hospital is serving. Even during the Civil War, that hospital remained open and it was serving the people.
Yeah, I've learned very recently that your sister were among the children who welcomed the visit of late Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai,
yes.
Decades ago.
Mm-hmm. My sister, she's still around. She's alive. She was very young girl by that time in the primary school, and she was among the young people who wrote it. So there was a picture that has been taken when Premier Zhou Enlai was greeting the students and passing there. That was a very historic picture, but it lost. She lost that picture during the Civil War and all this. So that memory is still there. A lot of people still remembers that memory of that great visit of Premier Zhou Enlai here in Mogadishu.
Yeah, let's come back to today. During your visit to China for the FOCAC Beijing summit last year, you and President Xi jointly elevated China-Somalia relations to a strategic partnership.
Level. Yeah.
And what is your vision for, or what is, do you think is the future for this partnership in the years to come?
I met President Xi in Beijing, and we have a very good discussion on improving our relationship between our two countries and areas of cooperation that we can. I met also a couple of Chinese companies there, and as well as Chinese authority, different departments of China. And some of those projects and development plans that we have discussed it has already been implemented. There was a couple of delegations from Somalia visited China for experience sharing and China exposing their development trajectory, historical development of China, to get the experience on how China started from a low level until today this is power. So already that has started, the exchange of visitors is taking place. That's a partnership and it is a strategic, it's not a piecemeal here and there. So being strategic, it takes some time to develop, to build, and to implement it. So we are engaging to Egypt. We and China, our engagement has been boosted by the civil war, by the conflict here. And these are the years that China has developed the most. And we were not engaging China for all these years. So now re-engaging and renewing our approaches, it will take some time, but it's working on.
And you have met with President Xi on different occasions and reflecting on your exchanges. What aspects of your dialogue have left you with the deepest impression?
In my first term, in 2015, I met him in South Africa, China-Africa summit in South Africa. And then now, last time I met in Beijing. As I said to you, our discussion was a very clear discussion regarding on the development and technology transfer, education, health, food security in general, blue economy. All these were the subjects of discussion that we had, and we're working together on those areas. So it was a good meeting, really. President Xi, of course, is a very strong leader, and I really feel very proud to meet him twice in the last couple of years. And of course, his leadership has proven to be a very, very effective leadership. We really applaud him that he led China to the right path and to the prosperity that today Chinese people are enjoying. So he is a model, role model for many people and many countries in the third world, particularly, and in the less developed countries. And that's why I was saying the China way is pursued under the leadership of President Xi. And for his recent support to Somalia in the security sector is also highly appreciated. I'm really grateful for him for what he did for Somalia.
Well, Your Excellency, you are not only a statesman, but also a remarkable educator, having made long-standing contributions to the restoration and development of Somalia's education sector. And I've noticed the scarf and the cap on display over there, which were used during the celebration of Somalia's Teachers' Day in November. And so how important is this industry in the national development?
It's my passion for the education. When I graduated from university as a young man, I started teaching in school, secondary school, all the way to becoming rector of a university. The only profession I ever known was the education. Never had any other profession since until the day I joined the politics a decade ago. The educational service here in Somalia, since I came, we reopened and re-established the public education. There was no public education, only private education was there. Now we have public schools whereby the low-income people, the poor people can send their kids free of charge, starting from primary all the way to the university. Reopened the Somali National University my last term in 2014, 2015, and now it's a full-fledged university with more than a dozen faculties and having faculties, campuses in different parts of Somalia. Now, by educating or developing the human capital in the education sector, in the training, what we are now focusing is the technical and vocational education, whereby China can help us a lot. And that is where we have also requested China to support in terms of technology transfer, the new modern technology of doing things. So technology, today the world is technology, and technical and vocational education is priority for us, and that's where we are focusing right now.
As 2026 marks the China-Africa Year of people-to-people exchanges, what do you think, sir, China and Somalia can do to enhance cultural ties?
First of all, our exchange of visitors is increasing in pattern and in level and in numbers as well as China is offering scholarships to Somalis. That scholarship is increasing every year, year after year. Started from maybe 5 students, 10 students to more than 100 students right now going to China. As I'm speaking to you, there is a number of scholarships in process right now. Maybe in the coming weeks, a good number of Somali students will be joining Chinese universities in China, studying there. So that's one. The other aspect is the exchange of people. There's a lot of people from the State House all the way to different ministries going to visiting China and visiting not only Beijing and Shanghai, but also remote areas. And historically, how those remote areas were 50 years ago, 40 years ago, and how they are today. That's where we are very much focused. The work culture, the work habits and ethics of the Chinese people, particularly in the aspect of agriculture and technology development, whereby Chinese communities are mainly historically peasants and sedentary agricultural communities, and that's where we are right now, where we are starting. So it's going on, and the coming year of 2026, that will increase. The engagement will definitely increase.
China has achieved what many call an economic miracle with historic progress in poverty alleviation and technological innovation. And as African countries are pursuing their own development goals, what aspects of China's model do you think resonate most and are most relevant to African countries?
Two important areas, as I said earlier, is the agriculture, and above all is focusing on food security. Right now, there is a very serious drought in Somalia, and there is a shortage of food as well in Somalia. So Somalia is now focusing on food security, and not only food security, but food sovereignty that we need, and we have that capability. We have very reliable and strong sources of blue economy. We have almost 9 million hectares of arable land with 2 permanent rivers throughout the year. We have the largest per capita of livestock in the African continent. So we have the opportunity to develop and have a food self-sufficiency, but the means and the resources and the know-how, these are the challenges that we are handling with, whereby China was supporting Somalia even in the past, the 1970s and 80s. Rice agriculture, rice farming was first introduced here in Somalia by China with the support of China, and today rice farming is one of the main farming in Somalia. Similarly, it is the blue economy, the maritime and the fishery sector, whether it's the infrastructure, the education. The second sector is the issue of the technology. China has made a very, very fast and wide strides of technological development. If I give you a good example today, all the communication companies here in Somalia, 100% they use Chinese technology. All of them, the internet, the telephone lines, everything is from China. And that shows that China is more open for the technology to allow Africa benefit from that advanced technology. That is an opportunity for the world in general and for Africa in particular, by China opening itself to the outside world. And that is an opportunity for Africa whereby they can engage with China on all those developmental aspects that will enhance and motivate the African countries to engage more to China.
中国是最早承认索马里独立的国家之一，索马里是第一个同新中国建交的东部非洲国家。1990年底，索马里爆发内战。2012年，索马里和平进程取得突破性进展。同年9月，哈桑谢赫马哈茂德当选索马里总统，任期至2017年2月。2022年5月，马哈茂德再度赢得总统选举，成为索马里历史上第一位2次当选的总统。目前，索马里极端武装组织青年党仍控制索马里部分地区，频繁发动袭击。索马里国家重建长路漫漫。
And Somalia now serves as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, and China is a permanent member of the Council. And what is the space for China and Somalia to work together to address international issues, international challenges?
First of all, we are very much grateful for China's support of Somalia in the difficult years that we were out of the international arena. We were not there, but China was always supporting Somalia. And to join the UN Security Council itself has come through support from our international partners, whether China and other B5 together. China was supportive to Somalia in general. When it comes to China, we have certain commonality, common principles, and we have some as well challenges that we have to face. That makes us work together and support each other together.
Can you specify on the commonalities?
The commonality, for one example, is the one China principle and one China, one Somalia principle, the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Somalia and China, which both of us has some people who is claiming that they do not respect that. So China has always been consistently in support of Somali unity, and it was very clear their support and their stand. China has always been with us, and we always have been with them. We never recognized Taiwan, and China has the capacity, the military capacity and the military might to bring back Taiwan. China went through a difficult era in its history and has survived it and has even later on prospered. Somalia has difficulty in that. So the commonality we had is in some areas the China approach is useful to Somalia, and we are looking at those how to survive and prosper. There's a very, very rich experience in China, and China is open for that purpose, and they have been providing us insights and the civilization that resisted those days. So this is, again, not only the sovereignty and the territorial integrity, but also the respect of our two countries to each other. We've never had any problem with China whatsoever. In the last 65 years, the relationship was still the straight line. It was not, there was no up and downs in the last 65 years. So that is that shows that there is a certain basic commonality that we cannot divert or alleviate each other.
Your Excellency, the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind is gaining global attention. China has put forth 4 global initiatives on development, security, civilization, and most recently on governance. What is your view on the value of these proposals in addressing the world's most pressing challenges of today?
The world is different. Geographically, developmental level, the challenges that each country is facing is different. But what we are talking on those 4 is the framework and the principles that one has to respect. at the principle level, like respect of the sovereign, respect of alternative ideas, supporting one's challenges, not benefiting from the weaknesses of others. These are certain basic principles that we completely agree and work with together a global framework. China has recently also developed a platform for mediation and conflict resolution, which Somalia is joining and being part of that. That framework is more useful by helping each country its own, standing with that purpose, standing with that challenge. So we are part of that, yeah.
And finally, President Mahmoud, what do you have to say to our viewers?
Well, I will say thank you, China, for standing with Somalia for the last 65 years. And we are very much grateful for the support that has been provided to us by the Chinese people. And we're looking forward to work together more. As I said earlier, our relationship with China has always been a straight line. It has never been carved and up and down. We keep continue that straight line in the future. And I just wanted to let the Chinese people know that we are very much grateful for their support for Somalia and Somali people as well. And I thank them.
President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, thank you very much for talking with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor.